Well, hello, boys, girls, and that technicolored rainbow in between. Why do you want to steal Perfect Cell's lines? What are you still doing here? Well, I am a fan-favorite character, and I'm kinda the face of the channel. Alright, fine, you can stay. But make no mistake, this is my show now. I call the shots. I am the leader. You follow. Are we clear? Ugh, fine. I'll let you lead, only because I'm new to the PNG scene. Thank you. Now, let us continue our coverage of the Beast Tamer who was kicked out of the S-ranked party. When are we going to go back to cartoons? Later. So the chapter begins with Lox developing cabbage soup for everyone, which they all find delicious. At least this solves their famine problem for the most part. Well, with the cabbages that they found in the forest, they're going to replant them near the village and make it its prime export. But Lox isn't done there. He tells Shannon and his two ant twins to go out and search for the materials needed for their quest. Divide and conquer. Lox is going to handle the side quest, while Shannon and the ants handle the main one. So, Lox uses a spell to enhance physical attributes and puts the villagers to work at developing the village. Okay, can you explain why we're spending so much time in this dumb little run-down village? I don't know, something about monetary gain? Well, I suppose there is some monetary gain in export of cabbages and vegetables, but they're stuck in the middle of a swamp monster-filled forest. How are they going to sell it? Apparently Lox solved that problem too by using his minions to help build a road, as well as stabilize the village's defenses. Okay, I didn't want to say this before, but this is really starting to give me strong Kirito vibes. You too, huh? Just let me wave my magic sword wand and solve all your problems. The magical beasts and monsters kinda sell it more than Lox does, I will admit that. Well, we later cut to Lox and Shannon sharing a moment. Lox is telling Shannon his plans, and Shannon is still calling him master. Lox tells her, "Don't call me master, because I don't see you as a slave, and you're little more than a pet." Yeah, Shannon is definitely endgame arm candy. Agreed. So as Lox explains how he's going to establish the cabbages as well as return all the items that they've already gotten for the quest back to the guild overnight, Shannon ends up falling asleep. He ends up patting her head and using a cleansing magic and saying, "Thank you, Shannon, for all your work." But as everybody's sleeping during the night, Lox walks out with a Lucky by his side. And apparently hey, don't step on my dialogue. Well, don't step on mine. Anyway, they go on a solo mission in order to catch fireflies. Look, if you want to review things with me, then you're going to have to accept that I am the one in charge. I do accept you're the one in charge, but you also gotta give me some room to talk. But the fans want to hear my buttery voice and my rolling R's. People like my upbeat personality and loony hijinks. Well, this is where the party's at. 3 is a crowd! Get out of here! So we cut back to the morning, and Lox is getting ready in order to enjoy some big hearty breakfast from Shannon, only to discover, "Oh! Oh, God! My eyes! My eyes! Oh! Editor, why do you keep it on the screen? Move it along! Move it along! Oh! It's burned into my retinas! Kill me! So after that justifiable desire for eye bleach later, Shannon and Locke have their desired breakfast from the gargoyle. But Shannon is rather upset because she was actually awake that night when Lox and Lucky went out to catch the dragonflies. Because she doesn't want Lox running off and doing fun stuff without her. Yeah, she's definitely being set up as the endgame. Of course, that only translates to me that he's getting a harem. Why wouldn't you think he's getting a harem? Locks has dark short hair, he knows some basic magic spells, he has a sword, and he has no personality outside of being nice. According to Japan Isekai and Fantasy, that's pretty much prime material for a harem. Well, with the dirt road complete, they finally start celebrating by sending the cabbages that they were able to plant and return them to the capital in order to sell and make profit for the village. Later that evening, they also complete and manage to build the stone road full stop. And it's a big celebration. Only for in the shadows, Locke surmises that his old party is on the move. Not that it's really going to matter. Yeah, by the understanding of what's happened so far, Locke has been sending Shannon and the ants to go grab materials and then go on the road back to the capital in order to turn them in. If anything, they should have long since been done with the mission by now. Everything after that has just been killing time. Yes, the tone of the story makes it very clear that Locke has been completely demolishing his old team in time and resources, that he has time to develop a small village that he just happens to pass by on a side quest, and completes it before his old teammates even get to the starting line. I mean, it's not as though we don't know why they're writing it this way. They want to give our boy Locke the most advantage of advantages that he could get. But at this point, they're taking the piss. I mean, Locke has a dog deity as his familiar. It's clear that the guild is actively working against the evil party by assigning them a fetch quest where 90% of every one of them has a phobia against what they're trying to collect. And yeah, the guild said that they would assign Locke an E-ranked adventurer, but they never specified that it was an elf E-rank adventurer. Elves are seriously OP in fantasy. Every time! So not only are you trying to tell us that Locke can do this actively and more efficiently at a much faster pace than his old party could at their peak, but he also has time to establish and develop a random village in the middle of nowhere and turning their economy around by just happenstance? I think Locke might be the M word. I don't like throwing that particular word around when I don't have to, but it really does seem to fit Locke in this particular case. Locke is a Mary Sue. We later cut to the next day, where Disney Princess Locke gets a little bird flying on his shoulder. We have no idea who this bird is until it's revealed that it's the Sky Bird. You know that really badass looking bird earlier? Yep, that's it now. Apparently it ate a magical item that was mixed in with the meat and reducing its size to that of a tiny little Pidgey. And they're not going to address it and just let it sort itself out naturally. Why wouldn't you immediately fix such a serious problem? It's like catching a braviary in the wild, a shiny braviary in the wild, and just saying, fuck that, I want a P-Dove. And if your pet ate something and you don't know what it is or what it does, wouldn't your first reaction would be to get them to spit it out or take it to a vet? Okay, clearly the writer wanted to do a soft retcon of the bird, so it's no longer this cool badass looking super bird, and more of Tweety Bird. Well, the bulk of this chapter seems to be a bit of a filler episode, as Lucky stinks, positively reeks, from the fact that he hasn't been taking his baths. So Locke decides they're going to make a challenge to see who can get Lucky to take a bath. Yeah, good luck with that. He is a deity. He bathes when he wants to. First, it's Patra and the army ants, who use group tactics and use silky threads to tie up Lucky, only for Lucky to overpower them and tie them up instead. So the ants fail. Up next is the gargoyle, who puts his pride and his spirit as a former minion of the Demon Lord's army on the line, only to be one-tapped. The gargoyle fails. Then it's Shannon, who actually has surprisingly good swordplay and backs Locke into a corner. But the moment Lucky gets any amount of seriousness, Shannon knows that she loses. Which means the last competitor is Locke himself. Now, the reason Lox is so powerful the way he is because he's always had that demigod backing him up. So, what's he gonna do against him now? Well, how about a little sleep paralysis from our resident Skybird, now Tweety Bird? Is this cheating? Well, he's going up against a god. There are no cheating rules when facing a freaking god. They managed to put him to sleep pretty quickly, and thus are able to give him a bath. So, Lox wins! On one hand, I can't help but feel like that was a massive waste of time. But on the other hand, it was an adorable waste of time because it actually focuses on all the characters that are interesting, namely the beasts. So I declare this an adorable waste of time and meaningful for the adorabeaties that we got. So while Lox and his beast companions are giving everybody a horrible case of adorabeaties, we cut back to the old evil party, where the barbarian is upset of how dare Lox put us through all this and betray us. Doesn't he know we're childhood friends? Of course, the mages have to remind him, we betrayed him first. We're the ones who kicked him out of the party, and we're the ones who betrayed him, leaving him for dead for the Fenrir. That is now his best ally, so don't try putting this on him. But the gladiator seems to refuse to accept reality. I'm really starting to think that the gladiator is starting to lose his grip on sanity, because his desire to beat Lox is bordering on unstable, like Joker trying to beat the Batman. Except the Batman just genuinely doesn't care. Even his own party is questioning why he's so competitive against Lox. Why is he so unhinged against him? Even to the point where, even after this mission is done, because they have no other choice but to accept it, otherwise they're in big trouble, both the mages decided that once this is over, they're going to ditch the gladiator and go on their own way, leaving him alone without a party. The gladiator acts like he doesn't care. But, yeah, this will be their last and final mission as a party. So after trying and failing to shortchange their carriage driver, the gladiator, the fire mage, and the healer all approach the cave where they can try to get the rarest and most valuable item on their list, the Wyvern Stinger, which seems to be the only thing on the list that all three of them are willing to get. And so, with 4 days left, they just start on trying to get their stuff. What's with the goblin head statues in front of the cave entrance? Who knows? Who cares? All we know is that Lox and his party already have this in the bag, because they already got everything. Wait, did they get the Wyvern Stingers? They didn't mention the Wyvern Stingers. Why wouldn't they get the Wyvern Stingers? I mean, they got everything else. Why wouldn't they get the Wyvern Stingers? Good point. And that was the Beastmaster getting kicked out of the S-Rank party, chapters 11 and 12. I must say, they really are not doing a good job not portraying Lox as a bit of a Mary Sue. I don't like using the term Mary Sue to describe characters because that feels like a slur. How about we call him a Disney princess? I mean, he does have the talking animals. I don't know for certain if that's better or worse, but one thing is for certain. Even without the guild playing favorites with Lox as opposed to the other party members, this definitely feels like a competition he would have won with his hands tied behind his back. Of course, a lot of that is because he managed to get so many powerful beasts before the test even began. Without his beasts, he's still incredibly overpowered since he took a Fenrir blast to the face and not only come out with a minor scratch. But all the same, a lot of his power does come from his beasts. So while he is a Mary Sue, he is a bit of a soft Mary Sue. But still a Mary Sue archetype nonetheless. That archetype is sadly all too common in stories like this. But on the upside, but Shannon, the doggy, and all the other critters are just so damn cute! It's like watching a traditional Disney movie, and he's the Disney princess. Well, if we go by that logic, that means his old evil party and the hero kid are the evil Disney villains, which honestly makes sense given their personalities. So if we think about it like that, this show is actually much more tolerable than what we originally let on. Heck, I actually started liking it. Well, liking it more than what I already do, but before it was a guilty pleasure. Now it actually feels like a story I could genuinely unironically enjoy. Of course, now that the evil party is in close proximity to Lox and his party, I wonder if there's going to be a free-for-all showdown. Oh yes, yes, please, give us that. The gladiator and the healer and the fire mage who ran away from the exact same Fenrir that Lox has as his familiar right now, on top of the army ants, the gargoyle, and the badass hot elf. Yes, I would love to see that showdown. You even think about hurting my Patra, and I will show you the hard side of my hammer! Well, until then, I'm Rehash, the stirrer of chaos. And I'm Gent, the organizer of chaos. And we will see you all next time. Bye-bye!